Hi! Within this lecture, we're going to learn how we can do a DNS attack using man-in-the-middle framework. We're going to see what is a DNS and why we try to manipulate it. So now my man-in-the-middle framework is actually still running, so I'm going to hit Command C or Control C in my keyboard so that I can stop this from running, or you can alternatively close this terminal down. Okay, so what I want to do is to explain the DNS first. So DNS stands for Domain Name Server. Okay, so it actually connects the domain name like google.com with the IP address like the IP of the Google. So when you go to some website, it actually forwards this request going to this website request to the DNS server, and it gets a response from the DNS server saying that yeah, you want to go to this IP address in order to reach that domain. Okay, and since we are man in the middle, we can actually manipulate this response. So let me show you what I mean. If I come over here to my browser, when I type google.com, I'm not actually going to some hosting like google.com. I'm trying to go to the IP address of Google, the hosted cloud of Google, so that I can see the content of Google. Okay, and the way to do that is going through the DNS, connecting the IP address of the Google with the domain of google.com. So since we are man in the middle, using man in the middle framework, we can actually direct the target to any IP address rather than the actual IP address of the Google. So there are numerous reasons to do that. For example, we may want to divert user or prevent user going to from a specific website, or we may want to redirect them to our own website in which we have some malicious code. Okay? In fact, within this lecture, we are exactly going to do that. We're going to create a web server. We're going to create a web server in which we host a website using Kali Linux. Okay? And later on in this course, you will see its usages. Like we're going to inject some malicious codes to our website so that we can actually run that code on the target computer. Okay? And in order to do that, as I said before, we're going to use the built-in web server. There is a web server in Kali Linux. It's called Apache, and you can actually run this. And since now we are attacking inside of our network, it's very easy to run this. If we were to host Kali Linux as a public machine, as a public website, then we would have to use our public IP first and do some port forwarding next in order to make this work. But luckily we are now inside of our network and we're going to use this option. Later on in the course, we're going to see how we can actually insert some malicious codes to the publicly available websites as well. So if you run this service Apache to start, it will just start the web server for you. Now you can have a website to show to your targets inside of your network. And in order to design or in order to make this website, you have to go to your root directory. So in order to do that, I'm just going to open my file manager and come to this other location. So what I'm searching for is inside of this computer, and it's a folder called var. Okay, so double click on this var and then this W and then this HTML. So var www HTML. So this is the default folder for hosting websites. So if you ever worked with a website before, like a WordPress or some other website, it doesn't matter if you're using Linux, then your website should be located on this folder. Okay, so this is default for all Linux systems. Now you can see some index.html over here. Just right click on it and open it with text editor or LivePad. Because this is the first file that is shown to the user when a user goes into any website. So you can see some other codes over here. It doesn't matter, just hit Command A and delete everything, okay? Because we're going to start from scratch. And in fact, within this lecture, we're just going to write some very basic HTML code like I hack you and display a message to the user. Okay, later on in this course, we're going to see how we can actually host a website in the public IPs as well, but that is not for right now. Right now, I'm just going to open H1. This is a header, okay? And in the header, I'm just going to write I hack you. And over here, you have to put a slash to close this down. And be aware that I'm using this angular parentheses rather than regular parentheses, and the slash has to be in the front of this #1, okay, H1. So this is a header, this is basic HTML code, and it will just display a message like I hack you to the user. So once you save this, you can close this down, and now your index HTML is ready. So this will be displayed if I go to my IP address right now. Now let's test this. I will go to 10.02.15, and if I hit enter, I will see I hack you. Now this is cool. Now actually you can reach that from the Windows as well, because you're on the same network, and if someone goes to 10.02.15 in the Windows, they will see the exact same web page. And this is how web pages work actually. We can do that on the public IP as well. So when a user writes some public IP address, they go to that website and they see the content of the index HTML. And as you can see, I can reach that website from my Windows as well. Now what I want to do is to redirect users, the target actually, when they try to go to some website, rather than going to the true IP of that website, they will be redirected to this 10.02.15. Let's do that in the next lecture.